Hey everyone, it's great to connect with you today. I just finished diving deep into a book that honestly, I think everyone should read, especially if you've ever felt like you're not talented enough or wonder what it truly takes to succeed. This isn't some dry academic text. Even though it's written by a brilliant psychologist, it feels more like a really insightful conversation with a friend who's done all the hard digging for you. The book is called Grit: The Power of Passion and Perseverance by Angela Duckworth, and trust me, it's a game changer. You know how sometimes we look at incredibly successful people, athletes, artists, business leaders, and we just instinctively think, wow, they must have been born with it. They're just a natural. It's easy to fall into that trap, isn't it? Like, the myth of innate talent is so deeply ingrained in our minds that we often overlook something far more powerful. And that's exactly what Angela Duckworth challenged. Both in her own life and in her extensive research, she was actually told by her own dad repeatedly, you know, you're no genius, but she ended up winning a MacArthur Fellowship, often called a Genius Grant, precisely because she discovered that achievement often has more to do with your passion and perseverance than with being a natural. So why exactly is this grit that she talks about? Well, she defines it as passion and perseverance for very long-term goals. It's not just about working hard for a little while, or even intensely for a few months. It's about sticking with something you care about so much that you're willing to stay loyal to it, even when it gets incredibly tough. Imagine someone telling you, Rome wasn't built in a day. This book is basically the psychological blueprint for how to build your own Rome, brick by brick, over years without giving up. Now, you might be thinking, okay, but isn't talent still important? And Angela would absolutely agree. She presents this really fascinating idea with a couple of simple equations: talent x effort skill. And then, skill x effort achievement. See how effort counts twice? Talent helps you learn quickly, but it's the sheer consistent effort that builds skill, and then that same effort makes your skill productive in the real world. So someone who is, say, twice as talented but only half as hardworking as you might achieve the same level of skill, that you, the grinder, will ultimately accomplish far more in the long run because you're applying that skill consistently. It's a powerful idea, right? Angela backs this up with so many amazing stories. She was a middle school math teacher, and she noticed that some kids just got math concepts faster than others. But she also saw students who struggled initially, like a kid named David, who through sheer determination and asking for help, went from being deemed not ready for advanced math to becoming quite literally a rocket scientist with a PhD in mechanical engineering. It really makes you question our obsession with talent shows and gifted programs, doesn't it? We tend to place a hidden prejudice against strivers and prefer naturals, even when we say effort is more important. So, if grit is so important, how do we actually grow it? That's the real magic of the book, because Angela is adamant that grit isn't fixed, it's mutable. She breaks it down into 4 key psychological assets that tend to develop over time: interest, practice, purpose, and hope. Let's talk about interest first. We often hear follow your passion, but Angela points out that most young people don't have a singular passion to follow. Instead, she suggests we need to foster a passion. It's not a sudden fireworks-like discovery, but more like a compass you slowly build and fine-tune. Take Jeffrey Gettleman, a Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist. His passion for East Africa and journalism wasn't immediate. It evolved over years of exploration and active construction, starting with a visit to East Africa as a freshman in college. The key is, nobody is interested in everything, but everyone is interested in something. Find that spark, and then allow it to develop and deepen over time. Then comes practice. And not just any practice, but deliberate practice. This is the hard, effortful kind of practice where you set a stretch goal, focus entirely on improving specific weaknesses, seek immediate and informative feedback, and then repeat, reflect, and refine. Angela talks about how she used to jog for thousands of hours but never got faster. Because she wasn't deliberately practicing, she was just cruising. It's this focused, often uncomfortable work that leads to mastery. Even world-class performers like dance and Martha Graham describe deliberate practice as deeply fatiguing, a daily small death. Yet, oddly, grittier people actually find deliberate practice more enjoyable and more effortful than their less gritty counterparts, suggesting that they learn to love the burn or inherently enjoy the challenge. Next up is purpose. While interest hooks you, purpose rippens your passion. It's the conviction that your work matters beyond yourself, that it contributes to the well-being of others. Angela found that most great people aren't just seeking personal pleasure, they're significantly more motivated by a meaningful, other-centered life. Think about the parable of the bricklayers. One says he's laying bricks, another building a church, and the third building the house of God. The third has a calling, a deeper purpose that infuses meaning into every tedious task. It took the New York City subway's lead engineer Joe Leader years to see his work as a calling. It started as a job to pay loans. Then he realized he was responsible for moving millions of people daily and building something that would last for 30 years. And finally, there's hope. This isn't just wishful thinking, it's a rising to the occasion kind of perseverance. It's about believing that your efforts can improve your future, even when things are difficult. 171, 309. Angela shares her own story of nearly failing a neurobiology quiz in college but resolving to major in it anyway. Telling herself, I won't quit, I can figure this out. This links directly to the idea of mindsets. A growth mindset, believing abilities can be developed, leads to optimistic explanations of adversity and perseverance, while a fixed mindset, believing abilities are innate, leads to pessimism and giving up. A powerful takeaway here is how we talk to children or anyone we're mentoring, praising effort and learning. You're a learner. I love that. Rather than just talent, you're a natural, nurtures a growth mindset and grit. So what does this mean for us right now? In our daily lives, well, the book isn't just about what we can do. It's also about how others can help us grow grit. It's about parenting for grit and creating cultures of grit. Parents who are both supportive and demanding, what Angela calls wise parenting, tend to raise grittier kids. 211. 212, 638 n. They offer unconditional love and acceptance, but also set high expectations and model a strong work ethic. 207, 210, 215, 641 and her hard thing rule for her own daughters is a great example. Each girl must pick a hard thing to do, like piano, and they can quit, but only at a natural stopping point, like the end of the season or the tuition payment period. You can't just quit on a bad day. Beyond parenting, joining a gritty culture is one of the easiest ways to become grittier yourself. If you're surrounded by people who embody passion and perseverance, you'll naturally conform and internalize those values. Pete Carroll, the head coach of the Seattle Seahawks, famously built a culture of grit by relentlessly communicating core values like always compete and finish strong, and by leading from the front, showing his players what it means to be a Seahawk both on and off the field. He believes the opponent isn't just another team, but a challenge that helps them become their best selves. This book is incredibly insightful because it shifts our focus from what we are innate talent to what we do effort, practice, perseverance, and why we do it passion. Purpose, hope. It's an empowering message, suggesting that our potential is one thing, but what we do with it is quite another. It urges us to keep putting one foot in front of the other, to hold fast to our meaningful goals, to embrace challenging practice, and to fall 7 times and rise 8. For me, the biggest takeaway is this: if you've been chasing a natural identity or waiting for a sudden revelation of your passion, stop. This book gives you the tools to actively build your interests, to practice deliberately, to find purpose in your work, and to cultivate an unshakable hope. It's not just about achieving monumental success, but also about living a more satisfying and happier life, because Angela's research shows that grittier people tend to be happier too. So, if you're looking for a roadmap to personal growth and fulfillment, this book is an absolute must-read. It'll change the way you think about what's possible for yourself and for everyone around you.